All right. Let me share it to the Dyer group now, and we will be ready to roll. Oh, and something is repeating. All right. Well, hello, everybody. My name is Timothy Gager, and welcome to the Virtual Thursdays Dyer Literary Series. And tonight is our feature is an old friend, Alexandra Naughton. And let's let's jump through this rabbit hole. Ta-da! This is a copy. This is a wonderful cover of her last book, which has 120 poems in it, and a cat on the cover. Um, and that is Alexandra behind the cat. And she's authored 10 poetry collections. Her first novel, American Mary, won the 2015 Mainline contest by Civil Coping Mechanisms and was published in 2016. She writes Talk About It on Substack, so please subscribe, and organizes the Bring a Blanket reading series in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So I'm going to turn it over right now to Alexander Naughton. And actually, I read it was Bring an Umbrella reading series the day I was there.
We still talk about that as one of the craziest events that we had. I'm so sorry that we didn't have better weather for you.
All right. So you're going to read a little bit for us, and then we will chat a bit.
Okay, great. I have the print version of this book. This is the original cover that we were looking at doing, but decided to do a different cover. I like the cat one better, but this is the sample I received before we actually published. So let's see. This is called Fog Looks Extra Alpha with Palm Trees. I miss California with a whole like opera in my septum. It reminds me of being born. Instead of leaving mom and dad's for a South African defense contractor who found rent control between startup bubbles, I wish I had fallen in love with a wannabe actor in the sexier spread. Fog looks extra alpha with palm trees. Really underlines the whole dystopian thing. Founders fled to Austin, anywhere they considered immune to homelessness, hiking up housing prices, with a plague of spent pupa trailing behind, a splintered mess for those who can't afford to be capricious. I agree. To sweep up and make best with. Promises wince unfulfilled. It's a long story, but I left too. After relinquishing the stability of a $1,200 three-bedroom apartment at Golden Gate and Masonic, 4 years with a war profiteer was enough. So I opened my arms again to Death City, brought to us by Doomed Future. Is this an art project, an advertisement for a film, or a general warning? I grew up here. Home of the shiesty fashion accessory, Zoo Gang on Instagram. It's got that sick shine. Nobody does it better. Perception shaped my caution. I keep my eyes peeled for 20s balled up in sidewalk cracks, splattered pigeons in alleyways, dog shit anywhere you can step. Money, fame, celebrity, okay. And they're all phony to me. I'm tired of loudly pronouncing my underdog status anytime I walk into a room. tired of drivers blowing through stop signs and red lights with speed of service reserved for Jason Statham movies. I should have been an actor. I should have had a plan. You're only hot when you're hot. And mom and dad wanted me to go to college because neither of them did. And I am trapped in other people's image. Now I'm a poet, writing another ode to nowhere. My hazy sky is never as blue as memory. Did you like that one? I can't tell. Can everyone hear me okay? It's so weird reading on Zoom. Like, it's really hard to get a perception of like how people are feeling about stuff. But that poem is basically like a love letter to Philadelphia, the city I grew up in, which I'm now living in once again. So I have a question. Do you want to hear some fiction or should I just read more poetry?
Whatever you would like to do.
You know, I've never read this out loud, so I'm going to read this now. This is called Better Homes and Gardens. She only watched television at the gym. Starting a fitness routine again wasn't an easy decision. The obsession could reignite. It was always right there. But it had been years. Oh my God, I'm sorry. It had been years since she had done anything more strenuous than taking a long walk, and her doctor said it might be good for her. Walking into the facility on Valentine's Day, she scans the fob on her keychain and proceeds to the main room where 3 flat screen TVs mounted on a wall in a row face the cardio machines. CNN or MSNBC always seemed to be playing on the screen to the right. The middle screen remained perpetually off, while the set on the left was devoted to what she referred to as the real estate channel. Hours of programming about people buying and improving properties. Tiny houses, houses being hunted internationally, houses being flipped, houses getting makeovers, aspirational stuff. Better homes than yours. An image of a frazzled Marge Simpson scowling, holding a lifestyle magazine. A portrait of middle-class envy and discontent burns in her head. Ignoring the new messages that she received in the time it took to walk to her place, from her place to the gym, she turns off her phone to stop it from buzzing, ignoring his text messages, and nestles it back inside her backpack. Plausible deniability. She picks a treadmill on the left side of the room, the one closest to the window. She presses the manual button, punches in her age and weight, and starts with a jog at 5 miles an hour and 3% incline. Out of all the cardio machines, the treadmill is her favorite because it burns the most calories in the least amount of time. Somehow it feels easier to run in place than make awkward movements on the clunky elliptical trainer or climb a staircase to nowhere on the sometimes vertigo-inducing Stairmaster. Running is simple. It makes her thoughts slow down. Neutral, like meditation, a peaceful kind of blankness where she can concentrate on the numbers on the screen, watching time increase, watching miles accumulate incrementally, not having to think about anything else, unless she looked up to see what was happening on TV. The flashing lights above her head were hard to ignore. Anything is possible through the lens of basic cable television. Watching the restorations of colonials and mid-century moderns and craftsmen on the screen is hypnotic. It always got her thinking about how she could improve her living situation, how maybe she could be restored too. If a former hoarder home could be turned into multi-million-dollar property, maybe her situation wouldn't be so hopeless. Starting with surface level things could have a snowball effect. Maybe if she made some changes to her small studio. I know, I'm sorry. Maybe if she made some changes to her small studio apartment, really just a tough shed with drafty windows and an ant problem, and no kitchen but a hot plate, and no bathroom but the one in the main house where her landlord lives, which means carefully monitoring her liquid consumption lest she wake up her landlord's family in the middle of the night. Maybe other aspects of her life would improve. Maybe it would be easier if she started over. Maybe if she learned how to drive and had a car, she could live wherever the people on Fixer Upper live. Housing seems cheaper there. Fixer Upper is her favorite out of all the real estate shows. The show is always on in the afternoons, or at least it's always on whenever she's at the gym. The couple, the show's hosts, have a natural chemistry. Their faces are soft and waxy when they look at each other. She could tell how attracted they are to each other, even though they probably got together because they have the same values and interests. Likewise, the houses they renovate have charm. Their improvements are more sensible than gaudy. Their relationship seems real, if not a bit hammy for the cameras. She wants a relationship like Fixer Upper, except she doesn't want a relationship. She thinks about the show's tagline: we take the worst house in the best neighborhood and turn it into our client's dream home. And she feels her forehead wrinkle up, knowing that that kind of thing will never be for her. She turns the speed up to 7 miles an hour. In this episode, the fixer-upper couple is in a house they decide to temporarily call the movie theater house because the carpet is red in the living room and there's a big white wall for projecting movies onto. She misses some of the closed caption dialogue while checking her pace and adjusting the incline, so she isn't sure of the full backstory, if the house really was a full-time movie theater community type space, or if it's just a funny passion project of the former homeowners. Inside what looks like a projector room, just a small, weird little room with wood paneling on the walls, the fixer-upper husband, is his name Chip or Skip? Picks a cockroach off the floor and suggests to the clients to dare him to eat the cockroach. They dare him, he hesitates, and then he eats it. Everyone backs away in horror, including the fixer-upper wife. Is she a Joanna, a Jenna, who makes a joke like, "Don't you think you're gonna kiss me after this?" But they are smiling at each other and everything is okay. And you know that they will probably kiss when the cameras aren't filming because the teasing is just part of the cinemagic. In his confessional, Chip or Skip says he's never backed down from a dare. She imagines pulling an insect from the floor of a vacant house and inserting it into her mouth. The thought of crunchy creaminess of a chewed up exoskeleton on her tongue makes her shiver. She doesn't think about the text she's dodging or the phone call she'll have to answer later. For the next 60 minutes, she decides to just be here. She turns the incline up to 6% and stares at the display on the machine for the rest of her workout.
Right. That was an amazing display of balancing act. What's her name?
This is Casimira. She's 7 months old and
Look,
she
Casimira.
only wants to be held by her mommy.
Casimira, look.
It's the bunny.
Make it disappear. Woo.
Make the bunny come back.
She is looking at that bunny.
All right, we'll do the interview with the bunny. So the bunny says, when I was promoting your event here, I described you as a social influencer before social influence existed. Do you agree with that assessment of mine? And the reason I say that is because I've seen you do readings while you've worked out, while you've eaten breakfast. You do these whole series of things, which I just found fascinating and totally entertaining. And that's before TikTok, before any of that stuff existed.
I do like to think of myself as an innovator. I know that there's other people who were doing similar things who like managed to get more traction for whatever reason. There's like a bunch of people who came up around the same time I did. Like in 2012 is when I started really doing like a lot of weird internet poetry stuff. Before that, I was just a blogger on the internet who thought about being a poet. But yeah, like I like that idea of being an influencer before that was really a thing. I do want to say that there are some things that I did innovate that like other people started doing after me, like the idea of moving selfies, like just filming myself, just looking into the camera and like putting that on Facebook and like, this is a moving selfie. And yeah, I feel like other people were doing that after I did, but I don't know. Yeah, that's really cool.
So Robert Fleming asks, he knows another mother poet is Sylvia Plath, who wrote at 4 to 6 a.m. How do you balance being a mother and a writer? This is the $1,000,000 question. You're probably used to answering this one all the time.
I think I'm not really writing right now because I get barely any sleep at nighttime, and when I'm awake, she wakes up. So I can't she's looking at that bunny. When I think when she gets a little bit older, I'll be able to like get back into a writing routine and like carve out time for myself. I was able to do that with my toddler. Like I was just before this one was born, I was like really getting back into like a regular writing routine because with an older child, you just have more freedom, I think. Like they can entertain themselves and they're not like solely dependent on their mommy. Like I was able to leave my toddler with my mom for a couple hours and like get some work done. So I think when she's a little bit older, I'll be able to do stuff like that again, but not right now.
I always viewed you as a public persona, and I have a belief. And do you agree with this belief? I think that with all the books and reading material out there now, people are buying the person rather than the book. Is that something that you agree with or disagree with?
Yeah, I think I do agree with that to an extent. I feel like for like getting a major publishing deal, they want to know if you already have a platform. I think part of that is because it's really hard to sell books. Even like major publishers are having a really hard time moving their product. And unless you're writing something like romantasy or whatever is like super in right now, you're not going to be selling a ton. Like literary fiction writers are having a really hard time. I don't know how poetry does with like with I don't know how poetry does with big publishers. I think it's like a similar kind of thing where like if you are a known entity, like you'll probably have about an easier time selling
Yeah,
your books.
yeah. Billy Collins, yeah. People like us, friends, family, and other poets we know.
Yeah.
So I've read with you also in Oakland. So tell me, and you had a great series in Oakland when you lived out there. What's the difference between the writing community in Philadelphia and the writing community in Oakland? And is there one?
I think they're different. They're different, but they're also still very similar in that there's like so many different like cliques within the writing community and performing community. Like there's a ton of stuff happening in both places. There's a ton of stuff happening in both places, but you'll hardly ever see the same people show up to different kinds of events. Like everyone just goes to their own cliques events, I feel like. That was very true in Oakland. Like all all the MFA people went to each other's events. All the like older generation folks went to each other's events. Like the younger, like more weirdo type people just went to each other's events. So there's hardly ever any crossover, which it's kind of frustrating when you want to just like expose a bunch of different people to, like, it's hard as an events curator to like get a mixed crowd. So I
Well,
don't know.
I remember when I first met you in Boston, you were in the middle of a tour. You were driving and
Yeah.
training and moving, taking the train and moving across the country. What was your takeaway from doing readings in all these different states in a short amount of time?
It was really fun. It's not something I don't think I could do that right now at all. Um, yeah, like sleeping on people's couches and traveling to different cities to do readings was like a very fun thing for me to do when I was in my 20s that like I would not do that today.
Well, the poets you know now have guest rooms, so like even though
That's
you
true.
used
But
to.
that's true. And I did travel down to Richmond, Virginia last year to do a reading around Halloween. And that was really fun. But that was also just one reading for one event. And I like made a little mini vacation out of it and stayed there for a couple days. So it like, I think the idea of like traveling and going to a different city every day in like a period of a week, it's just like way too strenuous.
It's hodgepodge, and I'm finding too that it's harder and harder to get readings. Like, I'm willing to travel anywhere if I can get two readings that I can drive to and close enough, within a 3 hour radius. And I just can't do it anymore. It's so difficult. So, all right, dream reading, dream venue, dream guests to read with. Um, Fill in the blanks.
Um,
Sky's the limit here.
wow, okay. Maybe like I think it'd be cool to perform at like a big venue, like somewhere in San Francisco, like the Warwick or something like that, with like a band.
Awesome.
Like be the poet who like warms up for like a major act or something, like warm up for Deftones or something. Like that would be super sick. Um, or like Lana Del Rey, like warm up for Lana Del Rey at like Coachella or something, like be her like, little opening act, that or like someone she brings on for like a short set. That would be super sick. I would love to do that.
And music has always been important to you. I noticed from some of your
Yeah.
earlier work. How does music influence your poetry?
Um,
There's
I
the
guess
cover cat. There it
yeah.
is.
Everyone's here. My husband's like sitting right in front of me. Um, I listen to music while I'm writing. So I feel like I am not trying to write lyrics, but I am trying to like maybe be in conversation with what I'm listening to and like let it kind of influence and inform the mood of whatever I'm writing. Like even fiction, I listen to like the same songs or the same albums when I'm working on a story or a longer project, and have that be like the kind of soundtrack of whatever I'm trying to accomplish. And yeah, I think it just like helps create mood and um give me like a thematic kind of um yeah, like lends a thematic effect to whatever I'm trying to accomplish.
So which would come first? Getting sick of a song on your playlist or getting sick of the actual writing project?
Maybe getting sick of the song. but that hasn't happened yet. So I only really pick songs that like I could listen to over and over again. And I feel like, yeah, like I was thinking about this today. There are certain albums that I don't think I could listen to anymore, even though I still love them, just because they like were really important to me in periods of my life that I don't really want to associate myself with anymore. I was thinking about like the Jonathan Richman and the Modern Lovers album. Um, that was like really important to me when I was like 18, and like I don't really want to like relive how I was feeling during that time because it wasn't a good time. She sees the bunny. That's so funny that you just have a bunny.
I actually had pet rabbits, and they would play with their likeness.
Oh, that's cute.
And one of them would move the stuffed bunny in front of their food bowl so the stuffed bunny could eat. It was amazing. So I might be the first to ask this question since we're in 2025. What do you miss the most about the 2010s?
I don't know if I miss anything about that era specifically, but I think what I think about that era all the time, and it just represents for me like a time when I could have done anything and had all of this time to myself. And what I did was mostly just like spend time on the internet. But like, yeah, I mean, I was totally broke. I was working a job that I absolutely hated. I was working a series of jobs that I was not good at and that I hated. And I just spent most of my time on the internet because I couldn't afford to go out. I couldn't afford to like do anything fun. My sister goes on like vacations all the time. She's 4 years younger than me, and I'm just like, how do you have money to do that? But she saves that money, and that's what she does with it. I wasn't making any money during that time, and I was living in a very expensive place to live. So all of my money was going to rent and paying for food and stuff like that, just like staying alive.
I I also associate you with this group of writers in the 2010s, which, it was like the world was their oyster until it crashed and burned. Do you think something like that, the positive aspect of that, could ever happen again? Because it was almost the perfect storm.
Yeah, I don't know. Um, I like get super nostalgic when I think about all of the good stuff that came out of that time, and just like all of the opportunities I could have taken advantage of, and just watching how other people were using um the internet and like gaining an audience during that time. And I don't I don't think I think there's something happening right now, but it's a lot more complicated to like get in touch with it. And I think younger people are probably better at it. Like I think
That's a younger person right there. She's like, I'm in there. I'm in that young person people group.
yeah, this is the next influencer, the next
Uh,
big influencer. Yeah, I don't maybe it's just because I don't have the time and energy to like figure out how that system works and how to like manipulate it to my advantage. But I don't know. It's like it's a total enigma to me.
so who in that big group of that dream team from the 2010 do you follow now, and who has advanced far beyond the expectation, if you can answer that?
I think a lot of people from that era, I don't know what they're doing. Um, one of my favorite people from that era just like dropped off the internet, Marie Calloway. Like she's on Facebook still, but she hardly ever posts. I don't know if she's still writing. She might be. She seems like she's busy. I think she just has a life. Like, I was never a fan of Tao Lin, but he seems like one who's kind of managed to keep his career afloat, but I don't follow him, so I don't really know. I don't really like him. There's a few people that I think have managed to like stay relevant, but and some people are doing really well. Like Ben Fama's doing really, really well. Excuse me, ma'am. But a lot of people just fell off.
So what's next for you? And we'll close with this.
Okay, yeah, I'm looking for an agent. I have been looking for an agent for a very long time. I have a novel that it's finished. I'm trying to sell it. I would love to get it published. If I can't publish with a big five, finding an agent, I would love to find a great indie imprint who will help it like find the audience that I think it deserves. I know literary fiction's definitely having a moment where things just are not selling. And it's hard to find an audience unless you're writing about a hot controversial topic like ethical non-monogamy if you're Miranda July or whatever, like, so I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen with this book, but I love it and I think it deserves a good home. And I think people probably would want to read it, but who knows,
Well, best of luck in finding either an agent or a good home for it.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for being on the show. If you want to find out more about Alexandra, it's very easy to find alexandranaughton.com, and you can check out her books and many of her books and buy from the publisher as well. There's a link that will take you right there. So once again, thanks for being here. I loved having your baby on the show.
Thank you.
And anyone that's watching the stream and would like to come in and for the open mic right now, just use the link and come out and feel free to bring the kids.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much.